Are you seeing our presentation here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Katie Fitzgerald. I'm the Director of Operations here at YPC Media. And today I'm joined with Parker Drusbeck, who is subbing in for Zach Kessler, who I know some of you were expecting today, but unfortunately he is out sick. So we wish him well and to recover this weekend. But today we are going to be going through local service ads. So a lot of you know these as Google Guarantee or Google Screened. And we're going to go through every component of those for you today, as far as breaking down what types of ads these are, what's available, who is eligible, how you can get started, and what to expect if you are a business that is eligible for these types of ads. So we'll get right into it. What are local service ads? So a lot of you have seen these before. You've heard them called multiple different things between Google Guaranteed, Google Screened. They even have license verified. There's tons of different badges out there on Google. But these are ads that are showing at the top of Google search. You can see they are labeled as sponsored pieces at the top of Google. And the unique thing about these is that they are ads that you pay per customer, so not per click. This is a little different than a Google Ads campaign. I know a lot of you listening in are YPC Media customers, so a lot of you may have a Google Ads program with us. This is something completely separate from that, and we'll make sure we go into all those details. But Parker, will you kick us off with some of the benefits of these types of ads?
Yeah, so these ads will show up at the top of that search result, similar to a Google ad, but like we said, this is something that is different. It will appear for any of the keywords that you plug in, for that as well. And how people can interact with that would be by clicking on the ad. They'll probably be clicking to call, send you a message request, or even a booking if you have a scheduling link attached. From that point, the customer then reaches to you, and then you get a notification through both an email as well as a notification through that local services app, which will be another nice function for you to help manage and see what's going on with this campaign. And then from that point on, you get to communicate with that customer however they reached out to you. So one thing though to make sure is that if you do regularly fail to answer the calls, respond to the messages, or communicate with that program, you could be affected by having a lower quality score, or maybe not receiving as much. But for the most part, you're paying for the person that's reaching out to you and not just a click. So starts off just by reaching the top of that search result. Then that person gets delivered to you via the phone call or the message request, and then you are then building more trust with that community because of that new program.
Yeah, and a lot of the times customers that are searching, they may not even notice that they're ads, which is also really cool because they see that business profile right at the top. So a lot of cool benefits with local service ads for sure. So we want to break down the types of them. So as I've mentioned, we get questions almost every day, and it seems especially this week we had a lot of questions come in about Google Guaranteed, Google Screened, even the license verified by Google, and what are the big differences here. So I think most talked about and longest standing one with Google is the Google Guarantee. So when a business registers with Google, based on their industry, they're going to categorize you into one of these buckets. So there isn't a time where you're both Google Screened and Google Guaranteed. Based on your industry, Google will place you into one of these. So not every business is going to be eligible for a Google Guarantee or a Google Screened or the license verified. With the Google Guarantee specifically, this is a program that is backed by Google's, as it says, guarantee. And this is to give the customer a peace of mind. Really what they do is if the customer's not satisfied with your work as the business, Google's actually going to cover and reimburse that customer financially for a certain amount. They say up to the amount. We did some research, and based on your state, it seems the most they would ever refund a customer is $2,000, and that is a maximum once in their lifetime that they're able to do that. And likely, if this was the case, it's not something that happens typically every day, but the customer would have to go through a rigorous, quality satisfaction survey with one of Google's third-party vendors to actually go through this route. If it did come to that, typically what happens if you are registered with the Google Guarantee and Google had to fulfill their end of it, you would be banned from the program, and your ads would significantly suffer in the meantime while you're in that. So best when you sign up for these that you're up to par and really communicating well with your customers. So that's the biggest thing with the Google Guarantee. On the Google Screened, this is going to be leaned more towards our professional services and those that are looking to build a trusted reputation online, show up on top as somebody that is screened through Google. It's a pretty rigorous screening that they do. It is free as well, so businesses can sign up for these for free, and then you would run your ad campaign. They go through everything from your license check, a background check, proof of insurance. You don't have to verify your location with this, which is also really neat. With Google Guarantee, you do have to verify your location, but this one allows for any mobile businesses, or if you're looking to service a state or nationally, you can do that as well. But the Google Screen is more for the professional services, and it just gives you that check mark to show up up on the top. There is no guarantee by Google or anything like that, but it just is an extra benefit for that. And then finally, our license verified by Google is a little newer, but this is really used in the healthcare and providers area. This is really to screen the qualifications and licensing of those healthcare practices and providers. So your doctors, dental offices, those types of things can be get their license verified up at the top of Google. So we talked a lot about these, but Parker, will you go through? Let's start looking at who exactly is eligible for these.
Yeah, so at the top of the screen, you have the QR code. That's going to be there for the next couple of slides, but please feel free to scan that. That's going to get started on taking a look and seeing if you are eligible, and then starting to fill out some information. Not every business, as we said, will be eligible for this. At the moment, we'll kind of get into a little bit more on who and who is not at this point, but this will, like I said, see if you're eligible, and if you're not, you'll be able to kind of get yourself onto an email list so that if something does come available for you, you can be notified about that in the future. But below, you have a couple of different categories here that kind of break down a little bit more about the types of businesses and practices that are available for these platforms. So you have things related to home, business, health, learning, care, wellness, beauty, and also the automotive industry. So again, these are going to kind of break down into similar or smaller pieces that actually correlate to what your business category represents on the Google Business Profile page. So here's a big list of different categories that all these businesses can be categorized under. And you definitely want to make sure when you're filling out your information that you have the exact same category on both pieces. By doing so, that's going to make sure to determine whether or not you go under Google Guarantee or Google Select. So that's something you're definitely going to want to make sure you have the same. But also be aware that this is also not something you want to start to manipulate, start changing your category to be something else so you start to fit a mold. That's going to cause a ton of issues for you. I work closely with detailers and PDR techs. PDR guys, if you were to try to change right now, the auto dent removal service is not a category for this at the moment. But as you can see there, top of the second line, auto body shop and auto repair shop are. If you were to try to switch your stuff over to auto body shop, that's going to cause problems for you organically for the Google page. You're going to get phone calls for repairs and jobs that you don't want to be doing that aren't capable for you, and then it's just going to cause a bigger mess than it is. So definitely make sure that you have the same correlating category that is representative of your business. And if you have questions or concerns about anything like that, if you're not sure if you qualify or not, you can definitely reach out to us or anybody here at the company, and we can definitely help answer any of those questions. But as of right now, definitely make sure that your stuff stays pretty consistent.
A great point. And we do have a Q&A box here if anybody does have questions about any step of the process as you guys scan that QR code and put your business information in. Feel free to do that. We'll have some time at the end. So to kind of break it down even more, that these are kind of where the typical business categories are that are able to use the Google Guarantee right away. So you have your real estate agents and brokers, lawyers, financial planners, childcare, preschool service providers,
Wellness providers, auto care providers are involved in this automatically, but it is only in states like California and Florida at the moment. So again, if you guys have been going through the QR code at the top, seeing if your business is eligible, if it's came across that it wasn't eligible yet, because maybe you're not in a state that provides that, again, by filling out the information, electing for emails, or being notified when something does come about, your state might be next. We'll also, if we get wind of those updates, we'll be able to present that to you guys too. But that's something to be aware of for the future. So also, beauty providers is the same, and then also in the miscellaneous category, it's also California, Florida, and that's where actually our insurance agents are located as well. It's very interesting that Google has put you down in that point. But again, insurance agents, this is still something for California and Florida at the moment as well.
It's been a really rigorous process for Google Screen, and it is a little newer for the professional services side. And I know there's a lot of insurance agents on our webinar here today. So if you are in California or Florida, you can definitely give it a try to go through that. But I do want to dive into, if you are somebody that filled out the form here, you will likely see if you are not eligible. We wanted to show you what that's going to look like. So if you did go through that QR code, and start filling out your information. If you're not eligible, it's going to give you this form. We do suggest you fill it out. It's going to just put you on a list so that if your information that you put in does become qualified, you will get notified via email for that. So just so it will be a good reminder, not something that you need to come up and check all the time, but at the end, you'll have our QR code too. Of course, YPC will continuously update our customers of new industries that get added from there. But if you were someone that scanned it and maybe you started going through the process a little bit, you can see that they're going to actually start taking you to the application for Google Guaranteed or Google Screened. And I've mentioned how rigorous the application process can be. Some of the stuff that I listed here is really just scratching the surface. You actually work with a third party from Google to go through this entire process, but you can see it starts out with identity verification. So you're going to have to upload your driver's license. If you are an industry where you have field workers, you're also going to have to identify all of your employees. You also will have to go through background checks. So this is going to go on the business owner, the business itself, and then they also do take a look at your business profile through Google to just make sure you haven't had any slaps on the wrist or anything like that. They're going to look at your business registration documents, your insurance requirements. So as somebody, when you go through the Google Guarantee section, you are going to be required to have general liability insurance as well as professional liability insurance is what Google has listed out based on your industry. Sometimes they offer different thresholds, so they go through each industry is a little bit different in that part of the process. And then if you are in an industry where a license is required, at least on the state level, they are going to check that. So again, that's a third party company that you work with Google to go through this entire process. So once we start going, kind of what to expect from here. So the first thing is we always like to start out by saying it can take up to 4 weeks to get approved. So all that information that I shared, even if you're right on it and within 24 hours you have all those business documents uploaded, it can take up to 4 weeks. Again, like I said, it's a third-party company that Google works with to do all those background checks and things like that. But once you do get approved, like Parker was mentioning, there is an app that you would download for the local services ads, and the calls, everything would come through right to the device that you have set up through your Google business profile. The calls come through from a Google tracking number. So the caller ID actually tells you it's a call from Google. And then the other note that we've seen too is that Google does reimburse for junk calls. So we know that that's always a big issue, right? You see a lot of junk that comes through. You have an option in the app to report these from there, but all the information is pulled from your Google business profile. So your hours, your website, that phone number, everything's pulled from there. So it's really important that that is completely up to date as you start running these ads. I think, Parker, you mentioned it before, but if you don't answer calls, it does affect your ads. So that is something we call the quality score, that would start drifting down if you were to miss those calls. If you're somebody that runs Google Ads campaigns, I'm sure Parker or your account manager has talked to you and looked at those missed calls that are on there. That is something that can affect your ads. The other cool thing that's available in the app is that you can ask the customers for a review right through the entire process. So they offer messaging and calls for this. And to really clarify too, we talked a little bit about, Google Ads where you're paying per click. With the Google guarantee, you're going to pay, they say per customer, but it's really per lead, I like to say, because you're going to not pay until someone actually makes the call with you or fills out your form via Messenger. So right in Google's app, they're going to fill out that message, which is just a form fill with some of their contact information. And that's when you would pay Google for those. We have a few screenshots of just what that app looks like for you. So you can see this app gives you everything from your profile and budget. You're going to just confirm all of your information is accurate in there. You're able to put the types of jobs that you want to receive. You set up all of your billing, your location and service areas. And then over more on the right-hand side, you can see some of the reporting that they offer as far as the calls that are coming in, jobs that are ready for review. You can see here too the review management. In there, you can, with a tap of the button, ask for the reviews from those jobs. And there's so much more in this app. These were just a couple of the pieces from, the high level, what you can add and edit in here. All of this information is imported from your Google Business Profile. So it's so important that that is accurate and updated when, you get started with these ads, which I think really takes us to, we went through a lot of the different types and that, Parker, but can you kind of take us through how YPC can help? Because a lot of this can be really confusing.
Absolutely. And this is something, let me just also state this too, is that this is so worth it for your business. If you can absolutely be eligible for it, if you can do it, it is definitely worth going through, the process. By just having the extra little check marks, you not only stand out to your competition, but that also attracts the eyes of users and new people that are looking for your service. And then also it's going to help with your ranking. And obviously we've explained all the benefits of the ads. So there's such an incredible new thing that you can use. And then obviously too, if you're not eligible yet, definitely get yourself on that waiting list to get eligible for it, because again, once it comes available to you, you're going to want to be getting on it right away. So what things you can do or how we can help is that this, obviously, as you were filling out that information, you can see that you can go through that process. This is something you can do on your own. But, when it comes to running a business, doing your marketing, this can sometimes be, a little bit too much to handle or needed to be offloaded. And we can definitely provide a lot of assistance there. So we can help with every step of the way, really. If you needed help organizing, documents and information to get submitted, we can do that. We can also then get into, building your budget, labeling, what keywords, what you need to be targeting, building the entire campaign and running it from that point, similar to how we would run any other ad campaign. Those are things and services we can definitely, assist you with. But again, with that being said, if you can't be eligible for it, things to be prepared for, or how to get yourself prepared for it, would be through your typical SEO services, making sure your Google Business Profile is fully optimized. These are all things that if we haven't already are not doing for you, can do. So doing your business optimization, the setup with the guarantee, reputation management, through that new application, you'll be able to request for more reviews, being able to respond to reviews and facilitate those things are things that we can help in, as well as always website design. So, if you're going to run a proper ad campaign, you're going to need to have a lot of other information behind you. So having the right backup is definitely going to be necessary. So, if you have questions about anything, or whether if it's with this or the SEO materials, please let us know. We can definitely answer any of your questions.
Awesome, thank you. And so we do have some time here for Q&A. So I'm going to unshare my screen, and bear with me all while we do that. We're with one screen here today. I will take a peek. We did have one that came in prior to this. We had a customer that runs Google Ads with us, and they had thought that local service ads were something that was already included in their program with Google Ads. And just to be very clear, it is not something that is part of our typical Google Ads campaign. So if you haven't given us business documentation and gone through this process and been specifically talked to about Google Guarantee, it's something that's likely not in your program right now. We do get this confused a lot with our location extension. So if you are running Google Ads, a PPC campaign with us, if we have access to your Google business profile, we can attach it to your Google Ads campaign. And from time to time, Google will serve that location to an individual when they are doing a search based on all of that relevance. So I know that can be a little bit confusing. So if that's something you can go ahead and make sure you talk to your account manager about and really clarify that. We had a couple other questions come in. So the first one was, what do you do when the category does not match your business? So I'm going to maybe assume your business, your industry doesn't show on any of the information that we showed. So if you have a category that we didn't review, it's likely that it wasn't part of the Google Guarantee or Google Screen. If you're talking about on your actual GBP profile, I would, I'm following you now. Thank you for following up in here. But if your category doesn't match your business, so we've had this before, Parker, where your business type actually doesn't fall into one of the kinds that Google offers, I would just suggest selecting the closest one. So the example he gave was power washing. So maybe it doesn't go exactly into one of those. I would suggest definitely talk through with your account manager on which one's going to be best. You probably already have if we are managing your Google business profile for you. But selecting the one that's most closely associated to your business is going to be important. Our account managers can also help take a look through of what's available, making sure that your primary category as well as some secondary categories help the user really understand what you're doing. But hopefully power washing is something that is coming, because I know that a lot of people are in your boat. And then another question we had was, what happens when calls are forwarded to other numbers? So as far as the number that you have on your Google business profile, that is where any part of the Google Guarantee would send those calls. So there's no problem with it transferring if you do have like a tracking number or some other number on that Google profile. If it is like a landline or something like that, it will absolutely go to that. You can still manage those all through your app. It doesn't have to necessarily be a cell phone number that is attached to that. Your messages would be through the app. So if you do set up the messaging feature, and you can select which one, so you don't have to have calls and messaging on, you can pick those from there. All right, so let's do one last check. I think that wrapped up our Q&A. So again, thank you all for joining. If you have any questions or need any more clarification on any of this, feel free to connect with Parker or I. You can find us on the YPC Media website. And then don't miss next month, we have a few more webinars scheduled out through the end of the year. So stay with us through the end of the year and keep coming back to learn some more things about marketing and making your life as a business owner much easier. And Parker, thank you again for subbing in last minute today. And we appreciate you diving into it.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Can't wait to do another.
Yes. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you soon.